You've got questions? She's got answers. It's Ask Nurse Lisa.
Well, hey, welcome to your appointment. You're right on time. This is Nurse Lisa, and you are watching another edition of Ask Nurse Lisa. I really appreciate the questions you've been sending me each week. We've got a great question this week because I get to talk about things that I've been wanting to talk about a long time. On every episode of Ask Nurse Lisa, you will hear me talk about how the body works together as one. Well, without further ado, let's get to this week's comment and question of the week from one of my favorite viewers, Richard, aka Jordanate, all the way from Australia. Richard, take it away.
Hello, I'm Richard from Jordanate, and I'd like to ask Nurse Lisa a couple of questions about our health.
Every time we go to the doctors or the hospital, they check our vital signs like our blood pressure, pulse, and also our heart rate. Why is that?
So obviously checking those physical vital signs is very important, but how do we ensure that our spiritual side is healthy?
Why is it so important for the doctors and nurses to take vital signs when you come into their facility? Vital signs are important because they are a barometer of your body's condition of homeostasis. In other words, is your body working the way it's supposed to be working? The blood pressure, pulse, temperature, and respirations are indicators of whether or not you're in actual imminent danger and if you need to be given emergency care. Now, on to your other question about how do you define and measure a patient's spiritual health? Well, I like this question because it helps me talk about how we as human beings are emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual creatures, and that all four of those parts of us work together as one. When one part is not functioning well, the other parts will not function well. So it's very, very important to assess a patient's emotional state, mental state, spiritual state, and physical state. When I was in university, I thought that was a bunch of holistic wellness mumbo-jumbo, and I only listened kind of half-heartedly. But after a few decades of taking care of patients, I learned the hard way that we really are broken down into those pieces, and those pieces have to be working for us to be whole. Now, you will notice that not many physicians take the time to do a spiritual assessment of their patients. Some of them don't even take the time to assess their patient emotionally or mentally. And this can be a real problem because that's not getting the whole picture. That's where your ancillary staff come in. Your nurses, your therapists, your pastoral staff, your chaplains, and things like that. Chaplains are very equipped to help their patients with their spiritual health. Years ago, when I was in university, I was shown an assessment tool. And it was really cool because it was supposed to be a questionnaire that was supposed to help predict whether you were going to get sick in the near future. What was on this questionnaire? Well, I'll tell you. That questionnaire talked about all kinds of changes that could be happening in your life. And you were supposed to go down the lists, good, bad, and indifferent lists of changes, and you were supposed to be marking down each one of those that applied to you. At the end of the tool, at the end of the paperwork, you counted up all those changes. And that gave you a barometer of whether or not you were going to get sick in the near future. There's been a lot of research on this. Doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, or indifferent change. If you have a lot of things new happening in your life, watch out. But let's get back to the spiritual assessment. One tool that people in the medical community can use is called the HOPE assessment. H stands for sources of hope, meaning comfort, strength, peace, love, and connection, like your connection to the community. O, organized religion. P, personal spirituality and practices. E, the effects on your medical care and end-of-life type choices. So, doctors and nurses and pastoral staff can use this tool to get a good barometer of a patient's spiritual health. I hope that helps. Until next week, I hope to hear from you. I love getting your comments and questions. And you can send your questions to AskNurseLisa@yahoo.com. AskNurseLisa@yahoo.com. And until next week, stay happy, stay healthy.